Alright guys, it is now finally time for me to continue my vision for the DC Cinematic Universe. If you didn't see part 1 already, I kind of did this video breaking down about, okay, if the DC Universe gets rebooted, the DCEU is no more. What would I do if I was in control of DC? How would I plan out this 10-year saga of the DC Cinematic Universe? So again, I did a part 1 where I broke down all the different Justice League members, their own movies, leading up to Justice League versus the Legion of Doom. So it was a really fun video to make, a really great video, so definitely make sure to check it out if you haven't already. But now finally, we are here with part 2. Sorry it's a little late, I've just been busy the past couple days, but now finally we are here for phase 2 of the DC Cinematic Universe. So again, if you haven't already, check out part 1, but now it is finally time to jump into phase 2. So we kick it all off just like we did in phase 1 with another Superman movie. This is our sequel to Superman Man of Tomorrow, now with Superman Son of Krypton, which will finally see the Man of Steel face off against Brainiac. And this is a character that's always been one of my favorite Superman villains, and I've always wanted to see him in a Superman movie, just on the big screen in general. We've seen a couple versions on TV before, a really well done version of Brainiac as a character in the Krypton TV series. I'd love to see a similar version done, but obviously with a bigger budget in a movie. I think this would be pretty crazy, and would this whole idea would kind of take us from being in the first movie, Superman Man of Tomorrow, being all pretty much on Earth and being a much smaller scale threat with Parasite, now really up in the ante, taken into space and doing a galactic kind of adventure with Superman. I think would be a lot of fun, especially since we're also introducing his cousin, Kara Zor-El, aka Supergirl. So Supergirl, this is one that, in all these theories and pitches and ideas for Man of Steel 2, it's always been Brainiac and Supergirl. So I figured, let's kind of keep that here, and also it just kind of makes sense. This is a great way to introduce Supergirl. So that is Superman Son of Krypton, kicking off phase 2 of the DC Cinematic Universe. Now moving on to our Batman movie, which is going to be Batman Under the Red Hood. Now, again, I'm just kind of throwing ideas here together, so it's not like a 100% well thought out plan. So of course, in phase 1 we had Batman and Robin, but that was Dick Grayson Robin. So, I'm thinking that maybe either it would be like that took place in the past, so he's like grown up now and he left Batman, now Jason Todd is Bruce's Batman. Maybe that can even be foreshadowed and mentioned, and even get a brief glimpse of that in the Justice League Legion of Doom movie. That would be a lot of fun. But then when we open up on Batman Under the Red Hood, Jason Todd is now the Robin for this version of Batman. But then of course, the Joker ends up murdering him, and we get the birth of the Red Hood. It's such a compelling story. Batman Under the Red Hood, the animated movie, is one of the best Batman movies ever. So to recreate that in live action form is something I know a lot of fans have always wanted. So that is something we could just do in this universe. Also, of course, like I said, the Joker would be featured here as well. So this would be our introduction to the Joker in this universe. Of course, setting up for some big stuff for this character going forward. Then we have Cyborg. So we are going to be getting a Cyborg HBO Max series. So this different from, again, what they've done in the DCEU, where he becomes a Justice League member in his debut appearance, but instead I want to do not only a Cyborg HBO Max series exploring his origins, showing how he becomes Cyborg, probably doing a little bit of setup with the Mother Box and showing all that, doing setup for our big Justice League versus Darkseid Apokolips War type thing. So that would be really cool, but also I want this to be a younger version of Cyborg, more of a teenager version of Cyborg, and you'll see later why exactly I want that, but I think this would just be perfect. I want a Cyborg more along the lines of less Ray Fisher and more Jovan Wade from Doom Patrol. I loved his version of Cyborg, so I'd love to see something similar to that, just a much younger version of Cyborg in this universe. Then we have the Joker and Harley Quinn. So this would be a movie, and of course would follow up after the Joker's introduction in Batman Under the Red Hood, and would finally give us a good demonstration of that relationship between Joker and Harley Quinn. We know we're going to be getting a version of this in the upcoming Joker 2 Folie à Deux with Joaquin Phoenix and Lady Gaga. So that's super exciting, but just for this universe, I would love to see just a well-done story showcasing how they fall in love, how you have that abusive relationship, because that's something we were really missing from the Suicide Squad and Birds of Prey, because you had the whole storyline of Harley breaking up with Joker, but it wasn't as effective because you didn't actually get to see them kind of as a happy couple, and you didn't actually get to see how badly he treated her. So that would be exactly what this movie is, but unfortunately would end off the movie with possibly Joker even betraying Harley and purposefully getting her arrested and sent to Belle Reve, which you can probably already see where that is going. But then we open up on Wonder Woman 2, which I didn't come up with an idea for what the movie title would be. I don't really have too many ideas when it comes to this one, but I would like to see a character like Dr. Psycho. I think that'd be pretty cool, mostly just because I fall in love with this character via the Harley Quinn animated series. So I think seeing him in a Wonder Woman movie would definitely be fun for sure. And then we have the Suicide Squad. So we got definitely an interesting lineup here. And what's even more cool about it is there's going to be Suicide Squad Kill the Crime Syndicate. So if you don't know, the Crime Syndicate, we will talk about in a second. But first, let's talk about the lineup of the Suicide Squad. So again, actually, never mind. I put these pictures in the wrong order. But yeah, Crime Syndicate. Let's talk about them, I guess, apparently. The Crime Syndicate is an alternate version of the Justice League from a different Earth. So this would be an all-evil version of the Justice League. And I think, as cool as it would be to have this done in a Justice League movie, is have the Justice League versus evil Justice League, basically, I think it'd be even cooler to have the Suicide Squad versus the Crime Syndicate, just because, it'd be cool enough seeing the Suicide Squad versus the regular Justice League, but versus an evil Justice League, that'd be even cooler. And just seeing these characters, such unique, different designs from the regular Justice League, I think would be really cool to see done in live action in a movie. But now let's move on to the lineup of the Suicide Squad, the Task Force X here, with, of course, Harley Quinn, again, following up after appearance in The Joker and Harley Quinn. Captain Boomerang, following up after his appearance in the Flash movie, The Flash Rogue, where he was a member of the Rogues. Then we have also Black Manta making his return from both the first Aquaman movie and Legion of Doom. Also Cheetah as well, similar situation there. And then we'll be introducing King Shark, but just because King Shark is an awesome character. Deadshot, he is a pivotal member of the Suicide Squad in the comics. We have Killer Frost. Also, Bronze Tiger, just because he's a character we've never seen done in a live-action Suicide Squad movie, so I'd love to see his inclusion here. But now let's move on to the Flash sequel, which will, of course, follow the storyline of the Reverse Flash. And I'm not completely sure if this would be full-on Flashpoint. It probably would be, but, at least would be a story featuring Barry Allen, the Flash, versus Eobard Thawne, the Reverse Flash. Also, the introduction of Kid Flash, I think, would be a lot of fun. Also, Jay Garrick, the original Flash, or Earth 2 Flash, I think would be pretty interesting to introduce in this film as well. And again, the Flash versus Reverse Flash, that's just a classic story. You built it up in the first movie, so then you finally follow through with that storyline in the sequel. Then we have Shazam, the Return of Black Adam, which would finally see the introduction of Shazam in this universe, and Shazam and Black Adam. So, I've never been the biggest fan of turning Black Adam into an anti-hero and giving him his own movie and everything, but, it's Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, so what can he do? I think this would be perfect. I think this would be, originally what I envisioned for the first Shazam movie was, Shazam versus Black Adam. Because at that time, I didn't even know of any other Shazam villains. So this is kind of my idea of, hey, let's do Shazam, and let's do Shazam versus Black Adam. So I think this would be really cool to see these two go head-to-head. You could do both of their origin stories in one, and I think that'd be a nice way to introduce both of them, setting up their future in this universe. Then we have the Deathstroke HBO Max series, following up after his appearances in Batman and Robin and Justice League vs. the Legion of Doom. Now we have a whole entire series about Deathstroke, exploring his origins, and this will also be a big setup for another project a little later down the road. Then we have Aquaman 2, which again I didn't come up with, another title, maybe Aquaman Aqualad, because we would be having the introduction of Aqualad in this movie. And the big thing with him is that he would, of course, be, getting mentored by Aquaman, but then there's going to be a big reveal somewhere that, oh no, he is actually the son of Black Manta. So Black Manta would come back into play here. He would most likely be the main villain of this film again. So that would be really cool, because Ocean Master was the main villain of the first Aquaman movie, so now we're going to bring Black Manta, even though he's had multiple other appearances, Legion of Doom and Suicide Squad and everything, now he's going to be coming to the forefront as the main villain of Aquaman 2. Which is actually pretty similar to, what we're actually seeing with the real Aquaman 2 in the DCEU. Then we have Green Lantern Beware My Power, or, maybe it'd be titled something else. But basically, my pitch for this Green Lantern movie is kind of similar to what we recently saw in the new DC animated movie, Green Lantern Beware My Power, which I also took a little inspiration from with the first Green Lantern movie in Phase 1. But for this one, it would kind of center around the similar main storyline from that actual Green Lantern Beware My Power animated movie, which, by the way, I just did a review on, so check that out as well. But it will focus on a war featuring the Thanagarians, which would introduce us to both Hawkman and Hawkgirl. So introducing those two big players into this universe I think would be a lot of fun. But the Thanagarians are currently in a major war against the Orange Lanterns, which would then introduce Larfleeze. I think Larfleeze would be a really cool villain to have in a Green Lantern movie, because, kind of the way I envision these Green Lantern movies is that, every movie would just be Green Lantern versus another colored lantern. The first one we had Green Lantern versus Sinestro and the Yellow Lanterns. Now we'd have Green Lantern versus Larfleeze and the Orange Lanterns. And then the third one would eventually most likely be Green Lantern versus Atrocitus and the Red Lanterns. So that, I think, Larfleeze is such a cool character that I think would look really, really cool in live action. Then we have the Green Arrow and Black Canary HBO Max series. So introducing these two characters to the universe, I think would be a lot of fun. I think Austin Butler actually would be a really great casting for Green Arrow. That's something that's been going around recently. I did a video on that a while ago. And I would love to see that come to fruition for this HBO Max series. But then some other DC projects that I am not going too in depth on, but I want in development and that I want in this universe would be The Atom. This would, I think, probably be a movie. Then we'll do Firestorm as an HBO Max series. Booster Gold and Blue Beetle, a great classic, kind of maybe like 90s style action comedy movie, a nice buddy cop movie. I think that will be a lot of fun doing, of course, the original version of Blue Beetle, Ted Kord, and then we'd have Jaime Reyes introduced later on. And we also have Dr. Fate, which could actually tie into another upcoming project as well. Now we jump into Constantine, the House of Mystery, as well as also Swamp Thing, also getting an HBO Max series. Constantine would probably be a movie. So we got a Swamp Thing HBO Max series and a Zatanna movie as well. You could probably see where this is going, but these three projects would directly lead into Justice League Dark, the big team-up movie where we would see these three characters along with others come together, get some Deadman in there, maybe Madame Xanadu, and Enchantress actually maybe could probably be a member of the Suicide Squad and then spin off into Justice League Dark after that. I think that would be pretty cool. Maybe even have Dr. Fate involved here. Justice League Dark, we're supposedly getting an HBO Max series in real life. We'll see if that actually ends up happening. But I definitely want the Justice League Dark in this universe. Now, the other big DC team-up movie, other than Justice League, that I want to see, because that's kind of my whole plan here, is that, we had the Justice League movie. The Justice League was formed in Justice League vs. the Legion of Doom. That capped off Phase 1. But then with all these many, many projects in Phase 2, we don't get another Justice League movie until the end. And that will be the really, really big crossover event. So we have these other little teams like Justice League Dark and now the Teen Titans. So we would finally be getting a Teen Titans HBO Max series. This would be very different from what we have in the real life Titans HBO Max series, just because I like that show. I like it, but there's definitely a lot I don't like about it. So we're going to fix some of that stuff here. So we will, of course, start off the lineup with Dick Grayson, the original Robin, who by this point may have had his own spinoff, may have become officially Nightwing. So we could have Nightwing as a part of the team, or maybe as Robin. Again, I'm not completely sure. It's not set in stone or anything. We will also have Starfire as well, a core member of the team, who I actually think maybe she could get her own spin-off series or movie on HBO Max as well. I think that would be pretty cool, exploring her origins on Tamaran, her being an alien, her war with her sister Blackfire, because there's a lot of cool Teen Titans villains that I wanted to include in this series, but then I kind of realized, like, I don't really have room to do that, especially in like just one season here during phase 2. So do these spin-offs and leading into the Teen Titans and have these other villains like Blackfire versus Starfire, and then also you can introduce Raven as well, maybe give her own movie or series where you can have Trigon be the main villain of that and explore that whole storyline as well. I think that'd be a pretty cool way to do it. Then you also, of course, have Cyborg, who was just set up in his HBO Max series. Beast Boy is my favorite Teen Titan, and I suppose maybe give him a series or a movie. I mean, out of all these characters, he's the one that kind of least needs it because he doesn't really have like a big villain that is centric towards him, so he doesn't really need it. But then again, I kind of feel bad that I gave like every other character on this team their own HBO Max series and then not Beast Boy. But I would love to see Beast Boy as a part of this team. Hopefully he's actually green. And then speaking of problems with Beast Boy on Titans, I want him to actually turn into some other animals, because all he's done on that show is turn into like a tiger and a snake. And actually a bat. He turned into a bat once as well. So I want to see him turn into the big gorilla, a dinosaur, a dog, a whole bunch of crazy stuff, and really be utilized in action here. So that would be our core Teen Titans group, and of course later on we would be adding members as well, like possibly Supergirl could join the team, Kid Flash. We also have Aqualad as well. Introduce maybe Superboy. We could introduce again Jaime Reyes as Blue Beetle. And then for villains, I do want to see the Hive 5, aka the Fearsome 5 from the comics. I want to see them featured here. I don't think they would be the main villains unless you did like a second season and they would be the main villains then. But I want to see at least them have an appearance here. Maybe you could set it up in a multi-episode arc, having these 5 or 6 villains come together as a team, but really the big bad main villain of the series would be Slade Wilson, aka Deathstroke. Again, he's had multiple appearances in this DC universe, especially after his big origin story in his HBO Max series. Now he's going to be the main villain of Teen Titans, because really kind of my whole goal with this Teen Titans series is to have it kind of be along the lines of a live action version of the early 2000s Teen Titans animated series. I love that show so much. It's such a great representation of the Teen Titans. So I want basically a live action version of that. I think would be so cool to see, where it's like, it's dark, but it's not like Titans dark. It's still lighthearted, it still has funny moments, and could actually feature a really good version of Deathstroke in this project. But then finally, before we lead into our big Justice League movie, we have a third Superman movie, which would be The Death of Superman. That's right, I'm doing it. I am doing The Death of Superman, and he would actually die in this movie. Doomsday would be featured, actually have a good design in this version, not like Batman vs. Superman. And this would be kind of our, this would be like our Captain America Civil War of this DC cinematic universe, where it's a Superman movie. It's definitely still a Superman movie, but it is kind of a mini Justice League movie as well, because you would have the other Justice League members featured in here also, kind of similar to the recent animated Death of Superman movie, which I absolutely love, where you have the other Justice League members in there, because, if the Justice League is a thing, they're not just going to be completely leaving Superman to fight Doomsday on his own. They're going to be coming to help out. They'll just be completely useless. And then, of course, it will end in Superman making the big sacrifice to die, but ultimately defeat Doomsday. And we will have some sort of reveal that Doomsday was created, or at least sent, by Darkseid. And this would then lead into our big project, Justice League Apokolips War. And this would see, finally, what we've been building up all these years, the Justice League versus Darkseid and all of his Apocalypse henchmen. And this would be the Avengers Infinity War, Avengers Endgame type movie event for the DC Cinematic Universe. So it will be a 2-part event. It's not going to be like Infinity War and Endgame where it has different titles. It'll just be Justice League Apokolips War Part 1 and Part 2. So we will have a Justice League lineup similar to this going on, along with probably a few other members as well, teaming up with the Justice League Dark, the Teen Titans, and the Suicide Squad, as well as possibly Lex Luthor and a new version of the Legion of Doom. So this is really taking really everyone to fight this big bad, because Darkseid is the big bad of this universe, and is taking a lot of inspiration from Justice League Apokolips War, the big conclusion movie to the New 52 DC animated movie universe. I really love that universe. I really love this movie, and I would love to see something along that lines where it really is just, you know, kind of what we saw in the final battle of Endgame, where it's literally every DC superhero that's been introduced, even the villains as well, just going at it, just fighting against this character of Darkseid and all his henchmen, Steppenwolf and, you know, Granny Goodness and the Parademons, and all these characters will be featured here. Now, like I said, it's going to be a 2-part event though, so it'll be very similar to Infinity War and Endgame. At the end of part 1, we would see the heroes would lose. They would lose. Darkseid would end up taking over the Earth. It would be another kind of like a second apocalypse, and it would be an apocalypse world basically. And then after this, we would do some sort of time jump again, just like Endgame, and then we would end up having, you know, like a couple months, a year, 2 years, 5 years later, we have now probably some of these heroes being dead, some of them probably now being mind controlled and working as henchmen under Darkseid and his apocalyptic reign, as well as also this little resistance group, the little rebellion that has to go ahead and save the day. And basically the whole plot point of this Endgame type movie of part 2 would be that this rebellion, they see the only way that they can defeat Darkseid is by bringing back Superman. So they will bring back Superman. Superman will not be in part 1, but he will be in part 2, because of course they bring him back to life, and then, you know, they eventually defeat Darkseid. I don't think it would be like Endgame, where it's like they just snap their fingers and everybody comes back to life. I think everybody who died would stay dead, and, you know, you would still have those consequences, like they would save the Earth and everything, but things would still be different. So there would be a lot of risk and a lot of, you know, casualties in this event. But that is kind of my plan and overall generic idea for the DC cinematic universe. Again, it's not like super 100% detailed and well thought out, but kind of just, I just had fun just making it, just planning it out, just having a good time just going through this and really pitching my idea for what I want to see from the DC universe, what characters I want to see, what kind of interconnectivity. You know, I think this would be really cool to have just this big epic crossover event. Having the crossover with these multiple teams, I think would be absolutely amazing, super epic, and just a whole lot of fun. So guys, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. What did you think about my vision for phase 2 of the DC cinematic universe with this epic conclusion of Justice League Apokolips War? And do you have any other ideas for yourself? Do you want me to do possibly a phase 3 post-Apokolips War? I wasn't really planning on it, but if you guys want it, I can try and whip something up. We'll see how it goes. And just let me know all your ideas and own visions for what you would want to see in your own envisioning and reboot for the DC Cinematic Universe. But anyways, guys, for now, thanks so much for watching. Please drop a like if you enjoyed this video, and hit the subscribe button so I can keep it up to date on everything goes on in the DC life.